Now that you've learned how to create questions and quizzes, let's talk about how to add more than questions. Google Forms has more than just the ability to add questions. You can add text, videos, images, and more. The same toolbar that you used to click to add question, there are several other links that we're going to talk about here. First, we're going to talk about the title and description. This particular element is something that you would use to divide up information when you didn't want to use sections. This is basically just a small heading with a description that's optional. So I could maybe divide my quiz up instead of using sections if I wanted to keep it on the same page and I wanted to have just a little division and provide some more information. This is not a question. No one's going to submit anything to you. This is just informative. So you can see here I've just given some information. Also, you'll notice that every time I have an element in my quiz, I do have these 6 dots that I can use to move elements around in my quiz. So I'm going to move that up to the top, and then I'm going to go to preview to show you what it looks like. And so you'll see this is basically just a little bit of text. It just breaks it up and gives a little information. You're probably not going to need to use that very much, but it is there as a tool if you'd like to add text. Now we have the option to add images. Adding images is something that you can do from your drive. You can search by URL. You can do any kind of image searches in Google, but if you're looking for something specific in your drive, you can find this image and add it to your form. Now, I want to be clear about what this is doing. This is not how to use images with a question. This is a decorative image only. This is just a way to add a little pizzazz to your form. Just a reminder, if I wanted to add an image to my question, I'm going to use the little image button that's next to a question. This particular image is totally different. You'll notice that you can give the image a title to give it some information. You also can use the 3-dot menu and do some alignment. So if I wanted to align this to the center as well as change that image or remove the image. And I can use my little dots again and maybe move that even above this, keep in mind, so that I put it near the top. So if I go and preview that, you'll see that it's just an image. It's very important that you realize that this image here is not adding an image for a question. This is just a decoration. Same thing can be said for this next piece, adding a video. Now, sometimes teachers will have students watch a video and then answer questions. This is a way you can use it. However, if you have things in your quiz set so that it shuffles everything, if you put a video and then put a question underneath it and then you turn on shuffle, your question and your video are going to be separate. So I'd only use this if you don't turn shuffling on. But to add a video, you simply click there, search for a video on YouTube, or if you already know the URL, paste that in and search, find the video and select. It actually embeds the video in the page of the form. Again, you can do some alignment, changing or remove. So I'm going to center align this, and I can even put some directions here. Now that we have inserted the video, let's go preview. And what you'll notice is the video is embedded directly into the form, so the students or the respondents can simply click on the video and watch within the form without having to go to a new page or new tab. So this is a super simple way to make sure that students can view the video right within the form. Something else to consider is that, just a reminder, if you insert this video and then want the next question to be about that video, you're going to want to make sure to go into Settings, Presentation, and make sure Shuffle Question Order is off. That will separate, if you have it shuffled, it will separate your video and the question. There's no way to insert a video into a question, so you'll have to turn off shuffle and use this video tool to be able to do that. But if it doesn't matter and it's just informational, then you can certainly leave shuffle on. So let's move to our final element to add to your forms, and that is a section. So I want you to think of a section as a page break. A section is a way to completely divide your content in your form into different pages. You can do this to make your form easier to read. You can do this if there are different topics in your form and you want to have the different topics on a different page. There are lots of ways to do this. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and start a section, and let's imagine that this quiz, I want them to watch this video before they start the quiz and have them keep in mind that they're getting ready to answer some questions. So what I want to do is right after this video, so I'm going to click on it, I'm going to add a section. Now what you'll notice when I do that is you start to see a section title. So if I go up here, you'll see section 1 of 2 and then section 2 of 2. Now you'll want to title your section so that it has some sort of purpose. So I'm going to call this the novel portion. So this is all about a novel, and I want them to keep in mind the novel. So this is going to be section 2. So then after we get out of the novel questions, I see these are about apps. So I would like for this next section to go after this question. So I can click Add Section, and I get a third section. In this section, I'm going to call this apps. And so these are about apps. And then I have some science questions. This is a very random quiz, but I just want to show you how this works. So I have another section, and this one's going to be about animals. And then I've got some more questions about apps. Now, if I wanted to put this in the other app section, I can actually just pick it up and drop it into the app section just like that. And here's another one about apps. So I can pick that up and drag it to the app questions. So you see you can move them around. But I now have section 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4. I do want you to see some of the tools that come with a section. You'll notice that you have the ability to collapse a section. This makes it easier to see all your questions in one place, especially when you have a question with images like that. So now I've kind of collapsed everything so that you can see here's what's in my quiz, and I can see the sections. The other thing that you have available to you in a section menu is a little 3-dot drop down. You have the ability to duplicate a section, and that duplicates the entire section. Move a section or delete it. Now I will tell you, if you delete a section, it's going to delete all the questions in that section. It doesn't just mean delete the section. But to show you something that you may want to do is if you do this and then you decide, oh, I don't want sections, you can use the 3-dot menu starting at the bottom and merge the sections with above and keep merging until you get them all back together. But I do want to show you what this looks like to the viewer before we move on. So you see in section 1 I should have my title, that image, and a question before with the video before I move on. So let's look at that in the preview mode. So now you'll see I have this title, my video, and because I still have it on shuffled, it kind of put that all around in a different direction, so that's something to think about. So I'll click next and it goes to the next page. So each section is on a different page. You really need to think about using sections when you have longer forms or when you have content broken into sections. Or I have some teachers, especially in younger grades, who like to put one question on a page so that it keeps the students focused on one question at a time. It's entirely up to you. I will tell you that if you have shuffle on and you're using sections, it shuffles the questions within each sections. So only the novel questions will be shuffled in section 2. Only the apps questions will be shuffled into section 3. It doesn't move a question out of a section. I do want to show you too that as we were previewing, at the bottom you see there's a status bar. This is super helpful if you are using sections. That is turned on in settings, presentation, show progress bar. If you turn off the progress bar, What that does, when I go to preview it, I can click next, but I really don't know how many more sections I have. So it's just nice to let the respondent know how far away they are from being finished, how many more pages of content are there. So that's adding sections. So we've talked about adding titles and text in the middle that don't require any responses. We've talked about adding images that are simply decorative, not associated with questions. How to use the video tool, and we reviewed that you want to turn off shuffle if you have a question associated with that video, but if it's just an informative one at the very beginning, that's totally fine. And lastly, we talked about breaking content up into sections to chunk the material in the form, the survey, or the quiz. So hopefully these add-ons will help you enhance your form even further.